You're listening to She's the Business podcast. Did you know that one of the most common reasons why the offer that you've worked so hard to create and produce isn't selling is because there's an energetic mismatch between your ideal client and the offer? So in today's episode, we are going to get right into what is this mismatch and how do you align your offer so that it is an easy yes for them. Stay tuned, it's coming right up. Hi, I'm your host, Jessica Osborne, and over the last 25 years in marketing and business, I've helped many brands to launch, scale, and grow, with some of them becoming multi-billion-dollar companies. I'm here to inspire you to get out of your own way and create a profitable, fulfilling business while living the lifestyle you really desire, without all the hustle. So I bring you She's the Business podcast, a unique blend of strategies, tactics, mindset, health, and spirituality, literally everything you need to be the successful leader of your dream business. Made by women, for women, this is your weekly dose of motivation and inspiration. So how do you align your offer so that it becomes an easy, really easy, no-brainer yes for your ideal clients? Well, most people think, and I thought as well for so long, that it was so much about the price. You know, the price you set, is it at the right price point in the market? And of course, price is definitely a key ingredient in your offer, but it is not the only thing. And actually, focusing on the price can be causing what we call an energetic mismatch in your offer. And it is actually this energy that's causing a misalignment, a disconnect between you and your ideal client. That's actually the thing that repels them more often than anything else. And I found this out one day. I remember it so clearly. I actually can picture myself I was having a discovery call with a client, and I was actually in my bedroom because the kids were home. They were running around downstairs and I needed a quiet space. So I didn't usually host discovery calls in the bedroom because it's always a bit strange. But anyway, there I was. This lady on the other end of the call, she was my ideal client. She was absolutely the sort of person I wanted to work with. She had a vision. She had a big goal. She was really ambitious. She was motivated. She was energetic, really positive. And, she was like, yes, I just really want to get there. Her coaching business, she was ready to sort of get it out of the weeds, out of that initial phase where it was just feeling hard and not connecting, and to put it out there and be attracting in some really great, high quality clients. Now, I knew that I could help her. I could see straight away a whole lot of things that she was, I'm not going to say she was doing wrong, but she just had not quite aligned properly in her marketing strategy, her offer. There was all of these things that I could see straight up. And we had a great call. She knew I could help her. Going really well. I was like, yes, this is amazing. I can't wait to work with this lady. And then it got to the point where I was to share my offer with her. How do we work together? Okay, let's get into it. So I started to share how she would work with me. And then I mentioned the price. Now, I knew literally in the next instant, it felt like it was instant to me. Maybe it was like 20 seconds, 30 seconds. I knew that this was a no-go. She wasn't going to sign up. She was getting off that call and there was a big cross and she was going to go forth somewhere else. Now, how did I know that? Because I could see it. The energy between us dropped like a cannonball into a deep, dark hole. And there was really nothing I was going to be able to do to bring it back out. Why was that? Well, because she lost faith in me that I could help her elevate to the place she wanted to be, because I was not playing that game myself. I was playing small. I was probably playing in what she almost related to where she was right now. And she wanted to get beyond it. And even though I knew how to get her there and I had all of this really great skills and expertise that I could use, I was not in congruence with my own value, with my own expertise, because I was not demonstrating it in what I was doing myself. So the instant I did that, everything just dropped. This was not for her someone that she could trust to take her to that next level, because I wasn't even playing there myself, even though I could. And that was a massive mirror that just got put up in front of me out of the blue, but it answered so many questions. And if you're a high achiever type, you may feel this way yourself. Maybe you started your business and you've figured out your service offering, you've figured out your pricing, and it's just sort of feeling hard. I've got to sell it to people. I get them on the call and I sell it, and you're making some sales, as I was at the time. I was making some sales, but my business was not in the realm. It wasn't hitting the financial goals that I knew were not only possible, they were highly achievable. In fact, I was like, why aren't I even there yet? And I was always looking for answers. What am I not doing? Maybe I need to post more. Maybe I need to elevate, start doing videos, do lives. I was always looking at what is it that I'm not doing so that I'm not reaching that goal. And I hadn't thought it was because of my offer or my pricing, because until that moment, I'd been under the impression that people would think it was too much, that people would think that it was way too high and I needed to lower it. So I'd been trying to keep it as affordable as possible, let's make this something that someone would be silly to say no to. But to me, that had meant make it really affordable. And I know that we get in this conflicted state, right? Because yes, we want it to be affordable. Of course, we don't want to create an offer that someone can't afford. But by doing it to the degree that my brain was telling me I needed to do it, I'd actually lowered this offer down to a level that was really far below the type of clients that I was seeking to attract. I was out of alignment completely with the expertise, with the value I was going to provide, and even the authority and expertise that I was showing and bringing out. My offer was not in alignment with it. That complete lack of congruence, that energetic mismatch, was something that they feel, right? They may not know in their head why they're not saying yes to something that's so affordable, such an easy yes for them. They can absolutely do it. Maybe they'd got on the call being scared to think, gosh, how much is this going to be? And when I said the price, was so surprised it was so low, but also it took the whole excitement out of it, right? So you kind of know this is happening if you keep thinking, I must have to lower again. If you're getting on discovery calls with people who you're like, this is the person, and we have a great call, there's a really good connection, and then they don't sign up, well, start asking the questions. There is an energetic mismatch there. If they're not saying yes after you've shared the offer, after you've had that moment, then it's because there is a lack of alignment in your offer for them. And now it is not just about the price. It is even about how you're structuring this offer, what it is, what are you including in it? What is that transformation? And there were so many levels and different aspects that I had completely missed. Here I was, and at this point in time, and we're talking way back in 2018, so a long time ago now, but I remember it as clearly as it was yesterday, because it was a huge turning point, a pivotal moment for me in learning how to play bigger, but actually not even play bigger, but play where I should be playing, and to stop playing small, stop diminishing my value, stop diminishing that expertise that you have, putting yourself back in a place where you think, well, I'm still new into this business, or whatever it is, for whatever reason that your brain tells you that you need to be there, putting yourself back there. Now, if you're like me, you are, that high achiever type, you've maybe worked hard to get where you needed to work to get to in your career, then you may have inadvertently felt like that's how you build your business as well. You start at the bottom and you work your way up. And this old programming, this old perception that we have that was we were kind of brought up into. This is the culture that we've grown up in. It's really been an absolute disservice, because what we often forget, what you may have been forgetting, is you have the expertise already, right? This isn't something that you're brand new at. Maybe your business is new, you're not new. And to be thinking that we've got to start from absolute zero is warped thinking. It's not the thinking that is going to help you to really get your business off the ground. Now, of course, I'm not saying, hey, go to the end goal immediately, or wherever you are. Maybe you've already been doing this for a couple of years and you're like, it should be further along by now. Why aren't I there? It's probably because we're not in alignment. Your offer's not in alignment with the type of clients really that you should be working with. That they're ones that you're speaking to and they're thinking this is great. They might be coming in and then, they're not buying because it's not the right offer. So what's happening for you when you're in this place, when you've started and you've started at the bottom, at zero, and you're working your way up, this is where most people tend to get stuck. They reach a point where they're selling and they've got some clients. It is much lower than where they want to be, but you get frozen here. Why? Because the fear is, if I change it and I change something that is working, what if I actually break it and it doesn't work at all, right? So a lot of people get stuck here. They get stuck on that first plateau, that first level where you've got some paying clients. However, your business is not anywhere near the financial goals or milestone that you wanted to be at and that is possible. You can look around, you can see other people less experienced than you, less qualified than you, finding it far easier, having much more success. It's because we've got stuck. And we're now afraid that if we change things, it's not going to work at all, right? I know, because I've been there as well. And, you can say that with a little bit of a laugh looking back on, the only way to know for sure is actually to do something about it. And for me, it took this moment with that lady on the call to have the giant mirror put up in front of my face to lose the sale literally in person. Like, she didn't say no to me with her words. She didn't have to. I knew it was a no because I could see it. And it was that moment where I suddenly saw myself through new eyes, through her eyes. And it was really that insight, that wake-up call that I needed to see how I was playing so low. Really why I wasn't then attracting these sort of clients that I wanted to be working with, the ones who I was like, we could do something amazing. I can help you get really great results. Well, I'm not playing in the space that is inviting her in. I was actually playing in the space that was repelled her so fast, she was out of there. So what can we do about this? How do you actually get into alignment? Well, the misalignment happens when you're creating from the past, when you're using your past or current experiences with the clients who you're working with to try to create your future offer. Now, it is hard to detach. I know it was hard for me. It's been hard for many of my clients who I work with because it is sort of what we know, right? And often I find people are trying to merge all of their current clients into one avatar and then create the new offer. But the problem is that the strings, the attachment that we have to the current and the past and what has worked before is really holding you back from actually being in the space that you need to be in. So in order to get to that place where you are in alignment with your authority, with the clients who you want to attract in, we've got to cut the strings and release what has happened and what is currently happening in this present moment. Because while they are firmly tied on, you are going to remain where you are. You're going to remain in this place that you already are in. We're going to keep repeating the past or repeating the current present. So release them. We need to actually, the process that I love to take people on that we do inside Business Jam is actually to jump forward to that place in the future where you have the clients, where you are in the right zone, where you're attracting in the people who you really know you can help, who you can get the best results for. We go there and we live in it, we embody it, and we see what this looks like. If we knew without a doubt that that is where you are, that's where you're playing, it's already happened, you are successful and you are doing it. If you know that and you create from that place, the answer that you give is far different. And what's interesting is often it feels a little bit scary. You know it straight away. I ask the question and my clients will always know straight away, well, this is my offer. I know what it is. And then they go, and freak out a little bit because it feels like, whoa, can I even do that? That's, sometimes it feels crazy. It feels a little bit insane. But the thing is that you've already been there in that moment that we went there and we released the real world, the 3D. We released that and we took ourselves there and we created from that place. It's surprisingly easy because deep down underneath all of the logical brain, all of the constrictions and frames that we've put on it, the current context that we are looking through when you're in this moment that you are now, when we release all of that and allow yourself to just be in this new place without any of those constraints, it's surprisingly easy to know what your real signature program, your signature offer is. You can get there quickly. The challenge is then stepping into it and allowing yourself to embody it now, even though we know our feet are where they are, they're in the 3D present. But the more you can do that and step into it, the faster your feet move to be in that future place. So yes, it is literally as simple as that. Now, when we go back into my story of like the moment where I had the mirror put in front of my face and I realized in an instant that I was playing in a space that wasn't aligned, was not in alignment at all with who I wanted to be, how I was even showing up, the clients that I was talking to. My offer was way out of alignment. It was like, whew, they're not buying it. Okay. And the moment I realized that, I got down to work and I actually created what it was. Now, yes, I had moments of fear, of doubt, the insecurity. They're like, oh my God, am I actually going to do this or not? What if it doesn't work? And well, for me, it was really that moment of, well, if I don't do this, then I'm going to remain where I am. And I knew that. And it also was not viable because if I remained where I was going to have to give up on the dream of the business and I was going to have to go back and get a job. And I did not want that. So that to me was a greater driver, a motivator than the fear of what if it doesn't work. I was like, well, it's already not working. It's working to a degree that is not sustainable. It's definitely not going to help me move forward and really be in this place. I'm not playing into my strengths. And so it took a bit of courage to do that. And when I did, I created a signature offer. At that time, my signature offer was a one-to-one offer. I created it. I had no idea whether it would work, but I gave myself the chance to give it a try because I thought, what have I actually got to lose? I've got a business that's working, but it's not working to the degree I need it to be working. So I've got to do this. Otherwise, I've got to call it quits. And that was the push I needed, right? So I don't know what your push is going to be. Is it that when you look at where you are right now, what if nothing changed? What if you're still there in 3 months' time? What if you're still there in a year's time? How will that feel? Is that where you want to be? Is that are you already where you are? Well, probably if you're listening to this episode, I'd say you're listening to it because you're feeling like your offer isn't in alignment. They're not saying yes easily. And, the clue, how do you know that you're out of alignment? Well, it feels hard. Things are not flowing. You're constantly in your head. You probably feel like your brain wants to explode by the time you've got to the end of the week because of all the thinking that you're doing. Thinking about, well, what can I do next? What do I need to say in order to get someone to say yes? You doing the actions and then there's a real imbalance of the effort and energy that you're putting in to what is coming back. That's how you know there's no alignment, because that's completely out of balance. And so what happens when we stay in it? I was so stubborn. I'm like, I'm going to get there. So I just kept on going. What happens is, if you keep going and you don't have that beautiful moment like I had where that lost sale was the giant mirror I needed, if that doesn't happen for you, if the sign isn't there and you just keep going, or you're ignoring the signs and you keep going, because usually I'd say there is a sign. There are multiple signs. I'd probably had many before that moment that I'd ignored completely, kept on going. Well, if I'd carried on going and ignored that one, I know that I would have just got to the end where I'm like, I am completely done. I've got nothing left to give. I have no energy, nothing. I'm going to get a job where I just can get a paycheck every month, and it was a strong lure. I had been an executive level role. I knew that I could earn a very, very good salary in a paid job. So it's a very strong lure. It took a lot of willpower and energy to stick to my guns, to be like, this is the life that I want to live, and this is how I want to do it. I could go and get a job anytime, but this is the life that I want to live. And it took a lot of effort and energy to detach from that strong lure and to give this a go and to keep going the way I was, but not in the same way that I was. To keep going as in, I'm going to try this and who knows what's going to happen. That's just the way it is. We don't know until we try. So the lesson in this is, if your offer is too high or too low, if it's out of alignment with where you are, the energetic level that you're playing at, the clients who you are speaking to and what they're seeking, then it repels. That's why they're saying no, and the automatic reaction that we all have, and this is everybody, I remember so many years being in corporate jobs, and I would be advising sales teams on their bid strategy, and they would come back and say, oh, the client's saying it's too expensive. I'm like, it is not too expensive. There is a lack of alignment. There is something going on there with a mismatch. The relationship, who you're being, whatever it is, if you're the right choice, they're buying it. It's not outrageously too expensive for them. It is within the budget range. The reason that they're saying no, it's the cop-out, is that it's too expensive. There's another reason. And there is a lack of alignment, a lack of congruence between you. And that is what it is. We've just got to figure out where it is. What is that thing? And it's usually not the price. Now, in my case, yeah, I'd priced my offer way too low, but it was the entire offer. There was more to it than just the price. So that's why when we look at offer structure, there are multiple elements that go into it that help you have the right offer. Some of the common mistakes are people stuffing in way too much, actually making it too much, too overwhelming for the person. They buy it thinking this is great value, but there's so much stuff in there that they cause a cancellation, or some people feel overwhelmed before they even buy because it's just too much. They're like, oh, I don't think I can take all that on. I don't want to do that. That just feels like it's out of balance, out of alignment with their expectation, with what it is that they really need. So that's a common mistake. There are many common mistakes, that are made, and time is another one. The length of time of your offering, of your program, of what it is. Sometimes people choose a time thinking, well, this will help people to say yes because it sounds easier. But when we're setting incorrect expectations, it actually makes it harder. And your clients will know if something feels off. Okay, so when it's literally too good to be true, then they feel that. There's so much in integrity in business. You really want to be showing up and showing that you know how to help them get to where they want to get, that you're going to help them get there in the best way and the fastest way, but you haven't put a ridiculously short, unrealistic time frame on it that's literally just there to sell something, because people can tell, they can feel it, and even the ones that can't, wow, word soon gets around. They're like, wow, I bought into that thinking it was only going to take 4 weeks or 8 weeks, and we didn't even get close. So then there's a dissatisfied customer. That lack of advocacy can harm so much for your future clients. So we want alignment. That's what we're seeking. I know it's a really overused word, but hopefully with this episode today, you've started to understand what I mean by alignment. It is congruence. There is a strong connection. There is an energetic match in what it is that you're offering, what it is that they are wanting, who their person is, and who you are. There is an energetic match between all of these elements that come together to make it a simple yes. Now, you might be saying, yes, Jess, but what is it? I'm like, well, it's different for every person, okay? I can give you a framework that helps you to do it. I'm not going to tell you how I can tell you how I do it in my business, but that's irrelevant because I don't want you to go out and copy my business, because it's not the match for you and your energetic space and who you are and where you are playing at the moment, where you want to be playing. It's very nuanced, and that's why it's different for each person. So the best way to get there is by using something that's a proven framework. That's why I love frameworks. That's what I use in Business Jam. My clients are like, oh, another framework. Yes, there is literally a framework for everything, because I want you to be making the decisions that are right for you. If I just told you what to do and said, do this, do that, that is the cookie cutter, another analogy that's really overused, but it's an easy way to explain it. That's the cookie cutter solution. And you aren't the same cookie that I am. It's not going to work the same, So for me, the best way, the most value I can provide to you is helping you to make the right decisions for you, to align to the clients that you want to work with. Who are the right fit for you? What is the right offer? And oh goodness, another mistake just comes to mind. So many people create an offer that they cannot sustain. It's not sustainable. It's just not doable for them, but they build it because they think that's what's going to sell. What sells best is the thing that's going to work for you, that is completely in alignment with your ability to deliver on it, including the time frame. How can you deliver on this? Well, it's not going to work out for you if you need to stay up till 3 a.m. working hard in order to deliver on it. That is out of alignment, because you need sleep. Everybody does, unless your sleeping time is 3 a.m. until 11 a.m. in the morning. Well, then that type of offering is out of alignment for you. So there's so many different factors we bring into it. Some of them you may be surprised about. Other ones are more obvious, like the price. Yes, we need a price alignment. And it is getting that sweet spot. Okay, so we want the offer to be an absolute easy yes, a no-brainer. They would feel stupid saying no to it. But it's not just about the price. It's also the promise, the outcome, the delivery, what is involved, and how you are showing up. Are you the no-brainer for them? As a coach, so important. You have to be the right fit for them. And it is not just like, you're not just selling a product off a shelf. You're not a box of cereal. You're not a carton of milk. You're not a loaf of bread or anything, even though you might think I'm essential to lots of people. Yeah, but they've got to be the right fit for you. There's lots of different varieties, and people like certain varieties. So you've got to be the variety for the person that's the right fit for you. And that's it from me today. So, wow, let's get into alignment. Now, you might want to go away and just start thinking and ask yourself questions that will help you to understand it. Some of the questions you could ask is, what is the space that I want to play in? How do you define it? How are you really defining that place that is where you want to be, so that you can go there and then you can create from that place? Go and have a think. This is, it's so powerful when you do this. There's lots and lots of questions normally that I help ask my clients inside Business Jam to help them to come up with that vision. when you're creating from that place, you are creating something that is from within and aligned from with you. And that is the most powerful thing there is. Now, we'll be back next week with a guest episode, which is going to be really, really fun and exciting. Stay tuned for that. Make sure you're following the show so that you get these episodes in your playlist and you don't miss any. This is actually the fourth in my current series talking about signature programs. So if you've missed the last 3 solo episodes that I did, go back and have a listen. We're going to talk about how you can use signature programs to create more space in your business and easier profit flow, what the types of signature programs are, and then whether you're ready, whether your business is actually ready. It's important, make sure that this is going to be right for your business. And then today we're talking about that offer alignment. So important, absolutely essential to have those easy sales. And I will be here chatting with you again next week. Looking forward to it. See you then.